So in this video, we're going to be talking about some drills that you can do that are specifically meant for law enforcement who is trying to get better at their shooting. Now, before I get into these specific drills, I do want to provide some context and just have a baseline understanding of the ideology that goes into why I'm suggesting this drill and stuff like that. So it's no secret that competition shooters are some of the best shooters out there, and the drills that they're doing to increase their firearms proficiency, you should definitely be working on those and doing those to get better at the just base level shooting skill that you have. However, I don't think it's all encompassing for law enforcement, and there is some stuff that you should be doing on the range, in my opinion, that will help you improve your shooting skills, number one. But number two, it's also more geared towards what you're most likely going to experience and what you're most likely going to do if you are to be in a gunfight yourself.
Threat!
Drills like a bill drill or shooting doubles, they're great drills. Don't get me wrong. Like, I do them myself, and I think you should do them as well. They help you diagnose what could be wrong in every element of your shooting platform and get better. But when we look at FBI data and BWC of what's going on in real life, and we take that human factor into account, it shows us that most officers are probably not doing bill drills out there on the street. So what does the FBI data tell us? It says that on average, officers shoot anywhere from 3 to 18 rounds in their gunfight. And that's based on a multitude of factors, from if the officer was injured themselves, the distance that they were at, if they had backup with them, stuff like that. So anywhere from 3 to 18 rounds on average. And then even more importantly, it tells us that the vast majority of police shootings occur within 36 feet, or 12 yards if you want to equate that to yards. So just for reference, about 22% of all law enforcement shootings occurred at 36 feet and up. All of them, only 22%. So that means 78% of all law enforcement shootings occurred within 12 yards. Now, with that being said, I think with that as the context, it is my opinion that you should be spending most of your time within 12 yards working on your shooting skills. Now, don't get me mistaken. I think you should spend some time past 12 yards because it can help you diagnose certain issues. And especially when it comes to the zero on your gun, you definitely want to confirm that outside of 12 yards. You want to go, with a pistol, probably out to 25, 30, and then with the rifle, if you zero at 50, you probably want to shoot that at 50 and at 200. So this first drill is going to be geared at the people who don't have a range that they can move around on, shoot multiple targets, stuff like that. So think indoor range with shooting bays, other people around you, and you can only work out to, typically those go out to about 25. So what you're going to do is basically work ready positions and work on getting that draw to first shot timer as fast as you can get it and as accurate as you can get it. Now, what I like to do is I will draw a small, like 2 to 3 inch circle on the target in the high thoracic area, which is where you want to be trying to get most of your hits in an actual gunfight, and use that as your aiming reference point of where you're trying to hit. So what you're going to do is, if your range allows you to draw from the holster, work from the holster, work on getting the gun out, keeping the grip consistent, keeping the presentation consistent, and getting that first round off as quickly as you can within that circle.
Good.
Get some good reps in like that at varying distances from 3 yards to 12 yards. And then once you feel fairly comfortable with that, you can work on adding extra rounds in there. So drawing and shooting twice, drawing and shooting 3 times, so on and so forth. Now, if your range doesn't allow you to draw from the holster, then you can just do the same thing, but from different ready positions. So you can do it from Sul, you can do it from low ready, you can do it from a super compressed ready down here. Obviously, gun is clear. You can do it from a super compressed ready. If you subscribe to Temple Index and you understand the benefits of that and you do it properly, you can do it from Temple Index. But the point of it in general is to just work on getting your grip consistent and your presentation consistent while trying to push the speed and get that first round off as quickly as you can. Now, things to pay attention when you're doing this drill are, is your grip consistent? Is your, hands moving every time when you grip the gun? The gun should be in the same position in your hand every time. When you are presenting the gun, are you scooping up or are you casting over to get the gun into your eye? And then also, are you moving your head? Are you moving your shoulders? Stuff like that. It should be a natural draw. The only thing moving should be your arms to bring the gun up to your eye and get that shut off. Now, again, try to shoot for getting all your hits within that 2 to 3 inch circle, but really that's just to provide a strict standard of what you're trying to do. But you'll probably notice when you really start pushing speed, you're going to come outside of that circle. And so, you want to try to be as strict as possible on yourself in training, with the understanding that in a real life high stress situation, it's probably going to open up, and depending on your level of training, it's going to open up so much. So if, you don't train very much, you don't shoot very much, obviously you absolutely should, but it's going to open up probably quite a lot in a real life situation. So get out there, do training, and try to bring that grouping in. That way, you aren't sending rounds past somebody and hitting something else that you don't want to hit. Now, the second drill is going to be geared at the people that can move around on a range. They can work on multiple targets and stuff like that. So again, we're going to keep the same 2 to 3 inch circle standard. So get that on your target. And what we're going to be doing is a lateral movement drill. Again, you can do this from multiple different distances. In the videos you're seeing in the background, we started at 7 yards and then we worked back to 10 yards. If you're shooting alone, it helps to have a shot timer. That way you can have some sort of stimulus to let you know when it's time to go. But in my case, I had a buddy with me, and so we would just call out the command of threat or done to signal to the shooter that it was time to go to work. So on the signal, what you're going to do is you are going to simultaneously start moving laterally, either left or right, while drawing your gun, presenting and engaging that circle with anywhere from 2 to 5 rounds, depending on the distances you have and stuff like that. Now, I can't harp enough. You want to try for this drill to make the movement of drawing and presenting and moving happen at the same time. Right. You don't want the go signal and then you draw the gun, present, and then start moving, and then vice versa. You don't want to start moving and then draw. It should be happening at the same time. So if you'd worked on the first drill first, you were probably able to get that draw consistent and fairly reliable pretty easily. But what you'll notice is the second you add in movements to your draw stroke, in this case, it would be movement of the hips and the legs. It can be very easy to throw off your draw and get your holster, or rather get your gun stuck in your holster, because the position of it changes. So the point of this drill, and you'll probably notice it in the footage that I have playing in the background, is to sort of mimic a situation where you might be walking up to a subject and you're telling them, hey, let me see your hands, or you don't necessarily know that they have a weapon at this point. You're just trying to talk to them, and then all of a sudden they present a weapon and it is time to go to work. We see it all the time in law enforcement shooting videos. Similar situations to this where they're approaching somebody, a weapon is presented, and one of the most common things is you'll see lateral movements or reverse movements. So some things to try to focus in on with this drill is the first, things that I had mentioned for the first drill. So making sure your grip is consistent, your presentation, all that stuff is consistent. But then you want to try to keep your body armor squared up with the target as best as you can. So you want to sort of pretend like your upper body and your lower body are separate moving pieces, and rotate your upper body sort of like a turret to orient your plates at the threat, while your lower body is moving you in another direction. If you haven't done a lot of moving and shooting, you can start off slow with your movement, but understand in a real life situation where that human factor comes into play, you're probably not going to be at a walking pace when this happens. And so I would recommend, if it's safe to do so and you feel confident that you're not going to do any crazy stuff and send rounds over the berm, try to push the speed a little bit and understand where your limits are and what you need to work on. So if you push the speed and your presentation just is never there, then slow it back down, get a bunch of reps in where you can consistently get that dot up to your eye quickly and efficiently, and then start working up from there. Again, you want to try to keep all the hits in the circle on the target, but it is expected, and I would imagine probably fairly common, that as you start pushing the pace, you're not going to be able to keep all the hits in that 2 to 3 inch circle. They're going to start spreading out, and that's okay. We train with a strict standard to try to improve our skills and get better, with the understanding that in that high stress situations, things will probably open up because speed will be there, in movements and presentation and shot cadence. So in my opinion, it's not like a huge deal when it starts opening up a little bit. You just don't want to miss, because if you hit a guy here or here or here, it's still going to be fairly effective. Obviously different parts of the body do different things, so technically some shots are more effective than others. But in a law enforcement shooting situation, you're just trying to eliminate the threats and protect yourself and your partners and the public. So in conclusion, guys, this is not a all-encompassing video. This is a couple drills that I wanted to put out there that are very specific to very specific situations that we see a lot in law enforcement shootings. So I'll have more videos coming out that go over drills that you can do to go over other situations that we also see a lot. And so keep an eye out for those. If your speed, your accuracy, something's wrong, get out there more, get some more reps, spend the time. It's going to be worth it at the end, because we do this to protect our lives, to protect our partners' lives, to protect the lives of the public. So if you need more of a reason or a cause to go out there and train your firearm skills, then I really don't know what to tell you. Firearm skills are a degrading skill. You can think of it sort of like going to the gym. You can't go to the gym for 4 hours a year and expect to get ripped. So the same sort of principle applies to firearm skills. The only way to become proficient and stay proficient is to be consistent and get that training in as much as you can. So guys, with all of that being said, if you want to see those other drill videos when I put those out, make sure to subscribe to the channel, drop a like if you liked it, drop a dislike if you didn't. If you disagreed with anything I said, make sure to drop a comment. Don't think I'm trying to say that my way is the only way and you have to do this. This is just what I've done that's worked for me, and I would imagine it would work in some way, shape, or form for you as well. I hope you found this video helpful and gave you some ideas of some different ways that you can run your drills and structure your training out there on the range to help better prepare yourself for what is most likely going to happen in real life.